Another video. And today I wanted to I thought about things that I could talk about so that this would not be a rambling fest the entire video. And so I decided to talk about the Enneagram despite my own desire and current interest level in the Enneagram. But for the sake of adding more content, wider catalog of content and videos, I thought with the suggestion of the endless Curtis to talk about the Enneagram. I can give some disclaimers. The reason I don't really talk about the Enneagram anymore is one, because I don't really care about the Enneagram anymore. And I mean that sincerely. Um, I I think the Enneagram has some explanatory value, but there's something about the Enneagram that's limiting intellectually. Uh, and um, it's just kind of flowery and kind of interpretive. Maybe in the method of typing people, there isn't very clear means of typing individuals in the Enneagram. And so I think for some to some that's part of the reason why I'm not interested as much in the Enneagram. But I know other people are, and so it's fine. But I just wanted to put that out there. So uh I wanted to, I guess out of nowhere, I was just kind of like, let me talk about Enneagram Type 6. Enneagram Type 6 is known as goes by many names, the Loyalist, um, the fear oriented type. That's kind of the archetype. Um, the archetypal whistleblower. So many different archetypes, and that's another thing. It's a side tangent. You know, well, no, I won't do that. So the Enneagram Type 6. And some of this I'm brushing up on. I haven't touched the Enneagram for a while. They're basically trying to seek security and certain through certainty. So the Type 6 needs a sense of certainty about people, about intellectual sources, about beliefs, uh, belief structures. The 6 needs certainty, and they need a solid ground in order to cross over into action, right? Because on the other side of the 6, adjacent to the 6, are the body types. So the 6 is fundamentally being a head type, disconnected from action. And a lot of times type 6s will need uh, ample amounts of information, almost to an unnecessary level, and which is an impossible standard for them. Almost omniscience, in order to have enough courage to cross over into action. So if you're in the context of relationships, it could look like, in order for them to befriend you or to desire to be with you romantically, they need to either shit test you, or they need to gather as much information about you as possible. Now, some of this information isn't going to be uh, easily given over. Yeah, nice try, bro. Some of this information is not going to be easily given over from the other person, because relationships are kind of an exchange that are built upon trust, right? And trust is the currency in order to gain more information about a person. That's kind of a mechanistic way of looking at it, but that's true. And if a person doesn't trust you, they know they don't trust you, they're not really going to give you information about themselves, right? Duh. But if they do, they're going to give you sensitive information, and that's just the currency that's passed back and forth in relationships. So if the 6 can't get um, this key information from you, they might They might send out a bunch of traps or manipulations, or they might change their demeanor to be more trusting, or they might share something of themselves voluntarily in the hopes that you would exchange information back to them and reciprocate it. Because, and the reason, and now I'm not giving the most clear and concise examples of how this plays out because I don't really know exactly how they do what they're doing. Uh, but I know generally the process it takes for them to do what they're doing. And I'm not going to get into all the minute details about the type 6 because I frankly don't really remember all of the different components, like the all the different triads that they're in. Um, I do know the core motivation, and then there's a core strategy for acquiring that information. So some of this you'll have to verify yourself. This is kind of a reintroduction into Enneagram, but so they need to know that you're a friend and not an enemy, and they're a reactive type. And so if there's certain information that feels off to them, they're likely going to react against that information. And this can start um their prodding you, or they're shit testing you, or kind of um manipulating you into giving information over. Now, I'm not saying that they're always conscious. Largely, they're not conscious of this, and that's not the only way they do it. I don't want to make it overtly negative, but the gram is not really a positive. Uh, like it's nine definable neuroses manifesting in distinct personality types. That's basically what. So it's not really supposed to be flowery and fuzzy and make you feel good about yourself. Um, it's obviously. So it can take on that form, and however, even though the 6 might get this information out of you and it might quell some of their doubts, um, intermittently, there could always be new information about you that they will inevitably react against. And necessarily, that will lead them into a cycle of doubting and being reassured of whatever the thing is. Intellectually, you might see this in them doubting their own type and trying to cover every single base in order to quell the doubt so they have certainty about their type. Because the implied belief is that if I do not have my right type, the correct type, I don't know how to be in the world. I don't know how to act. Um, and so they need to have near omniscient level knowledge about whatever they are doubting in order for them to feel confident to even 1% um uh to even 1%. To them, they must know as much information that will quell the fear and the doubts. And this is another aspect, is that they seek security through mental preoccupation because they're a head type. So if they feel afraid um of something, or they in first 6 that looks like fearing instability, or fearing uncertainty, then they're going to use their mind in order to solve that. Just like how the heart types have um, a trap, which is about their image and how other people relate to them, and if they're receiving validation for them for who they are, basically, or um, and so the way that they would go about quelling that is through image management, or through um, yeah, basically image management to a certain degree. The body types fear um, uh, things that pertain to their boundaries, and so in order to solve that, they appeal to their own action. The 8 extends in environments in order to quell any sense or feeling of inferiority or weakness. The 9 represses their aggression and their anger and their right to the things that they want and go to sleep to their responsibilities um, in order to basically evade the world. And the 1 refines. Oh, of course, there's a cop right there, bro. Ain't no way. Let me just chill a little bit, hold my phone down, act like nothing's going on. Um, and then yeah, so the 1 tries to uh the 1 tries to control their environment through rigidity and structure and like perfection, basically. Um, so the point being is, whatever type you are, you're going to solve your type's issues based on the group that you're in. So if you're a head type, you're going to solve your problems with your head. If you're a gut type, you're going to solve your problems with your body. And if you're a heart type, you're going to solve your problems with your heart, which that sounds like, well, that's obvious. Yeah, I mean, in a sense, but it gives you more clarity on how the type actually goes about, um, like how the specific type in that group goes about using their respective faculties or their respective macro group thing in order to uh, acquire that control or solution. Um, so sixes have a problem with their heads, um, and I don't mean that in a funny sense. I mean that in a legit sense. And so they solve the problem with their head, and that's kind of the trap. If you're always stuck in your macro group, you're never actually solving any real problems. So a good solution for a 6 is not thinking harder about their fears or trying to create a robust plan to mitigate their fears. It would be to trust that you have enough information to act responsibly in the world, basically. You have sufficient knowledge to do something tactically. Um, so I'm trying to think about what else. Sixes. Um, keep my phone down. This dude is right there. Never fails. Go do something, bro. I'm gonna get over. Uh, so now they're also a super ego type. So there's a sense of certainty and uncertainty applied to ethics, and the the type 6 has kind of message in their head about good versus bad acts. The superego is either going to affirm them, size that's what the superego does. Um, and so um, with with the 6, there's a sense of being a fear of